Have you ever had a moment that was so quiet, it was deafening? A moment where the world just stops. I remember mine. It was 2:17 a.m. on a Tuesday. I was sitting on the floor of my studio apartment, my back against the cold wall. The only light came from the flickering street lamp outside my window. In my hand was a phone, and on that phone was a single word from a text message. No. Just no. It was the final no. The one that came after a dozen other no's. The last company I had applied to, my last shred of hope, gone. And in that silence, with that single word screaming in my head, I had a thought. A clear, terrifying thought. This is it. This is where my story ends. But friends, I was wrong. That wasn't the end of my story. That 2:17 a.m. moment on a cold floor, that was the beginning. Because that was the moment I discovered that before you can fly, you must first decide that you are tired of crawling. And I was so tired of crawling. You see, for the longest time, I was running a race I didn't even sign up for. I was chasing a version of success that was created by everyone else, my parents, my friends, society. I was trying to build a life that looked successful from the outside. I wanted the corner office, the fancy title, the car that beeped politely when I unlocked it. I thought that was the destination. That was the happy ending. And I chased it. Oh man, did I chase it? I said yes to projects I hated. I laughed at jokes that weren't funny. I wore a suit that felt like a costume. I was building a life, but it wasn't my life. It was a museum of other people's expectations, and I was the lonely security guard. And the worst part? Every time I achieved one of those things, the new job, the raise, the happiness I expected to feel, it never came. It was like drinking salt water. The thirstier I got, the more I drank, and the more I drank, the thirstier I became. I was so busy trying to climb the ladder, I never stopped to ask if the ladder was leaning against the right wall. And when it finally fell, and I hit that cold floor at 2:17 a.m., I realized something profound. I wasn't a failure because I didn't achieve those things. I was lost because I was trying to achieve them in the first place. So there I was, broken, lost, but for the first time, honest. The mask was off, and in that raw, painful honesty, a small question flickered in the darkness, a question so simple it was terrifying. What if I just stop? What if I stop trying to be who I'm supposed to be and just be? My first step wasn't grand, it wasn't dramatic, it was pathetic by most standards. That next morning I didn't apply for a new job, I didn't write a business plan. I went for a walk, just a walk, no destination, no podcast in my ears, just me, my breath, and the world. And on that walk, I saw a flower growing through a crack in the concrete. And I know how cliché that sounds, but in that moment, it wasn't a cliché, it was a message. That flower wasn't asking for permission to grow. It wasn't complaining that the concrete was in its way. It just found a sliver of light, and it pushed. It pushed with everything it had. And I thought, what is my sliver of light? For me, it was writing, just a silly little blog that no one read. But when I wrote, time disappeared. That was my light. So I started pushing. I wrote every single day for 30 minutes. That was my new commitment. Not to a boss, not to a paycheck, but to myself. It was scary. The voice in my head, the one that had been fed by all those no's, was loud. Who do you think you are? This is a waste of time. You're going to fail. But I learned to talk back. I learned to say, maybe. But I'd rather fail at something I love than succeed at something I hate. That first step, that decision to water my own garden instead of staring at my neighbor's lawn, that changed everything. Now please don't think it was a straight line from that walk to where I am now. That's a fantasy. The climb was messy, it was ugly. It was filled with what I like to call productive failures. I wrote 100 blog posts and 99 of them got 10 views, from my mom and my dog. I tried to turn my writing into a service. My first client paid me $50 for a project that took me a week. I was making less than $1 an hour. There were days I wanted to quit. Days the old voice came back, louder than ever. See? I told you. You're not good enough. Go back. Get a real job. But I had tasted that feeling of being in my light. And once you taste that, the fake food of external validation just doesn't satisfy you anymore. So I kept going. I studied my craft. I learned from every failure. I treated every no not as a rejection, but as a redirection. A no just meant not this way, try another. I started to see the struggle not as a sign that I was failing, but as a sign that I was growing. You don't get a muscle without resistance. You don't get a diamond without pressure. The struggle is part of the story. It's not the part you edit out. It's the part that makes the hero. And you are the hero of your story. Stop waiting for someone to come and save you. You are the one you've been waiting for. So, let me ask you the question I asked myself on that cold floor. Are you tired? Are you tired of crawling? Are you tired of living a life that feels like a dress rehearsal for someone else's play? Look inside. What is that tiny whisper? That thing you loved to do before the world told you it was impractical? That is your crack of light. That is your flower waiting to break through the concrete. Your journey doesn't need a grand, perfect beginning. It just needs a first step. Your step. Take that walk. Write that first sentence. Sing that first note. Do it badly. Do it scared. But do it for you. Your 2:17 a.m. moment is not the end of your story. It is the moment you get to decide what your story will be. Make it a great one. If this message resonated with you, if you felt something stir inside, then do me a favor. Hit that like button because it tells the algorithm that this is important. And more importantly, click subscribe because this journey is long and we are not meant to walk it alone. I'll be here every step of the way, sharing more stories and lessons to help you build a life you are truly proud of. This is your sign. Your time is now. Go on. Your story is waiting to be written. I'll see you in the next one.